So everyone's different, right? Everyone has goals and achievements that they want to accomplish. They have different priorities, different things that make them happy. But I think one thing that almost everyone shares is that we're all trying to quit that 9 to 5 grind. Like we're just trying to break free from that 40-year 9 to 5 grind of just working for someone else and help building up another company that really could care less about us at the end of the day. Like we're just a number to them. So I want to talk about quitting the 9 to 5 and kind of tell you what my plan is to actually do that. There's no guarantee that this is going to work, but I don't know. I'm pretty confident in it. I feel like if I stick with it and I work hard enough, I feel like it's harder to fail than it is to succeed if I just stick with it long enough and work hard enough. So first things first, man. You in order to quit that 9 to 5, you got to embrace it first. The 9 to 5 is the easiest way to consistently pay your bills, hopefully have some extra money to save and pay down debt, invest, do all that kind of stuff. But without the 9 to 5, it's almost funny to say it. It doesn't sound right, but without a 9 to 5, it's going to be really hard to quit the 9 to 5 because at the end of the day, it is a consistent income. A lot of the times, it is a decent income. It's enough to pay the bills, right? So if you genuinely and truly want to quit that 9 to 5 lifestyle and escape that rat race for the time being, you just got to embrace the 9 to 5, man. But here's the thing is like most people hate the 9 to 5 when they think about their job. It's depressing and they don't even want to think about it, right? Like it's not an exciting thing. It's just something that we have to do 5 out of 7 days a week. But if you switch your mindset on that and you look at your 9 to 5 like you're kind of using that job and you're using that company to get to a point in your life that you're looking to get to, then it kind of shifts your mindset and it makes you feel like better about going to work. And it's not like you're doing anything different. It's not like the work is more fulfilling or anything like that. It's just that you know that you're using this 9 to 5 to help you get to a point in your life where you can finally ditch it and get out of the rat race. So the point I'm trying to make here is if you genuinely want to quit the 9 to 5, you got to embrace it for a while. You got to stick with it. You just got to do it. It is what it is. Now, aside from the 9 to 5, that's not going to be enough on its own. So what comes in next? You got to start working side hustles. You got to work nights. Some days during the week you have to work nights. You're going to have to work weekends without a doubt. It's not even a question. You need that extra money coming in on top of your 9 to 5, not to pay the bills or anything like that. Hopefully your 9 to 5 is taking care of the bills. It's going above and beyond and making extra money so that you can improve your financial situation. So what does that look like? Looks like paying off any high interest debt that you have. Looks like saving, putting money aside in a savings account, or better yet, investing your money to try and build up a sort of a foundation of money and investments that you can ultimately live off of at some point in the future. So this is this is a non-negotiable. You have to be working at least one other job. I mean, ideally, if you're really trying to get down and dirty and hustle hard, two extra jobs. Work a few nights during the week, work the weekends, work Saturday, work Sunday, work 7 days a week. There was a point in time where I was working 7 days a week for like 4 months. I may have had a day off like once or twice for about 4 months just because I was trying to improve my situation at the time. I was hustling, just trying to get as much money as I possibly could. And I put the work in. It was a grind, it was a struggle, it was a hustle, but I stuck with it for like 4 months. I worked 7 days a week and it pays off, man. The money adds up. So I mean, whatever it is you want to do for that side hustle, it could be, waiting tables, bartending. If you're a big dude, go bounce at a bar or do security, go walk dogs, go cut grass. I don't really care what you do. Just make extra money. Spend your free time outside of your 9 to 5 job working. You got to make as much money as possible if you really want to escape this trap that we're all sucked into called the 9 to 5. Now, moving on to investing, as I mentioned earlier, this is another non-negotiable, man. You have to learn how to invest your money, and you have to do it for a long period of time. Again, this isn't just an overnight thing where you make one change and next thing you know you get to quit your job. Like, this is going to take some time. You're going to have to work that 9 to 5 job that you don't like. You're going to have to work side hustles that you don't like, and you need to learn how to invest, and you need to do it for a while. This process is going to take years. No one said it's going to be easy. No one said it's going to be quick. No one said it's going to happen overnight. But if you're really about it, this is what it takes. So as far as investing goes, what does that look like? I'm a big proponent of just investing in stocks. Man, I started investing when I was 16 years old. I'm in my mid 20s now, so I've been doing this about a decade. Stocks, in my opinion, are the easiest way for someone to build true wealth and escape the rat race, because there's really not that much work that goes into it. Like, if you know what you're doing, it's really not that complicated. All you really need to do is have extra money to be able to invest. And then as long as you make sound investments, smart investments, investments that are known to grow consistently over decades, you really, it's kind of hard to go wrong based on historical, factors and historical, experience with the stock market in general. So, I mean, I'm no financial expert. I'm not an advisor, but I think 99% of people would be best just investing in the S&P 500 consistently for many, many years, and ultimately they'll probably come out up on the other end of their investment journey. It would be very surprising if they didn't. Anything can happen. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen in the market. Anything can happen, but that's where the majority of my money is, in the S&P 500. And I think that's probably the best bet for most people. If you don't know what the S&P 500 is, basically it's an index fund. So think of like a basket, and there's a bunch of eggs in this basket. And each egg represents a company. So one egg is Apple, another one is Microsoft, another one is Tesla, another one is Nvidia, another one's Walmart. The list goes on, right? So when you invest in stocks, you could buy each one of those eggs one at a time, right? You could buy some Apple stock, you could buy some Microsoft stock, you could buy Tesla stock, or you could just buy that whole basket that holds all of those eggs or all of those companies. That's what an index fund is, and that's what the S&P 500 does. Is the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies in the US stock market. So if you just purchase a share of an index fund that mirrors and matches the S&P 500, every single time you buy a share, you're basically buying 500 different companies at one time. You achieve instant diversification. It's much safer than investing in a single company, because if that single company goes bankrupt or they have a really bad earnings report or whatever happens, you can end up losing a lot of money. But if you're invested in 500 different companies, it's very unlikely that all 500 companies are going to have a really, really bad day. And if they do, there's probably something bigger going on. This happened in the pandemic. The market dropped a lot back in 2007 and 8 when the housing market crashed. Back in 2000, the dot-com bubble, when that popped and everything went down. So things like that can happen, and you need to be able to stomach those times. But in general, most of the time, the S&P 500 is consistently going to grow year over year. It'll have up years, it'll have down years, but at the end of the day, it's most likely going to grow. So that's what I think most people should do, especially when you first start out. Learn how to open a brokerage account or some other investment account. If you want to open a retirement account, learn how to, you need to connect your bank account to there. You need to transfer money in, and then you can go ahead and then buy stocks or index funds and ETFs and other investment types. So that's what I think most people should do. You can also invest in other assets like real estate. There's plenty of different ways to invest in real estate. If you're just starting off in your investment journey, real estate is a pretty big commitment and a big investment. So just make sure you're doing your research and really thinking that one through. If you buy a bad stock or whatever, you could just sell it. But with real estate, buying a house, it's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more costs associated with that. So just do your research on that. You can also invest in cryptocurrency. This is an interesting one. A lot of people will say, don't invest in crypto, it's risky. Other people vouch for it and they believe in it wholeheartedly. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I believe in crypto. I think there's a place for it in your investment portfolio, but I would never put all of my money in crypto. I put a small fraction of my overall portfolio in cryptocurrency. So I do have some exposure, and I think there is room for everyone to expose themselves to crypto. But when you're just getting started out, again, I would recommend just sticking with stocks. That's what I would do if I were just getting started out. But to each their own. You know, you can do whatever you want with your money. Lastly, you can even invest in businesses. So part of those side hustles that we were talking about might involve you starting a business on the weekends, getting something going, start building up some clientele, doing jobs on the weekends. Could be whatever you want. Again, cutting lawns. It could be cutting hair. It could be you could make a product and sell it. You could anything, any service job, anything. Just any business that'll provide you with extra money. You could also invest in that as well. So this is my plan to quit the 9 to 5. It's embracing my 9 to 5 that I have, working it. You know, it is what it is. You just got to do it. Also working side hustles on the weekends. Also working on businesses outside of all that. Trying to develop extra streams of income, saving, investing. All these different things. You know, when you first get started, it's not going to add up to a lot because you're just getting the ball rolling on these things. But if you work your 9 to 5 and you work your side hustle and you start a business and you have investment income and you have interest coming in from your savings account and all these other things, it starts to accumulate and starts to grow and snowball. And the next thing you know, you have some real money coming in. And then many years down the line, hopefully the goal is to get to a point where you have enough money coming in from all these other sources of income that you can finally quit that 9 to 5 job that you've been working that you really don't want to be at anymore. So that's my plan for breaking free from the 9 to 5 grind. I do not want to be a slave to the employer for my whole life, reporting to someone constantly every week, getting in the office at a certain time, leaving at a certain time, someone telling me basically how I spend 5 out of 7 days of my week. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm destined for more than that. You should feel like you're destined for more than that, and you should want more than that. And I want to be able to spend my time as I want to, because at the end of the day, man, life's pretty short. Like you don't have that much time on here. Like hopefully 80 or 90 years you're on Earth, maybe even longer. Hopefully, God willing, as long as you're healthy. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the big picture, it's really not that long of a time. So you just got to get after it. You got to embrace the grind for now, and hopefully, at some point you can break free from it all. And that's what I plan to do as well. So that's it for today. If you guys like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. I post every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you hit that notification. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.